Hello everybody, welcome back to another video from Exotic Astrology. Yes, you're right. You see these numbers again. What are these numbers? 4, 8 and 12, right? It is Cancer, Scorpio and Pisces, right? Yes? No, you're wrong. It is the 4th house and the 8th house and the 12th house. And the topic of today is Moksha Trikona. What is Moksha Trikona? Why are 4th, 8th and 12th houses known as the moksha houses? Okay, so as we have been discussing, the 1st, 5th and ninth are called the religious trines or the dharma trikona. What we are supposed to do in this world, what inspires us, what makes us happy. Then we have the 2nd house, the 6th house and the 10th house, which are known as the artha trikona, money giving houses, solid concrete resources, which are epitome of reliability. Okay, then we have the kama houses or the houses of desire, the 3rd house, the 7th house and the 11th house. And we saw in the earlier video how activities of the 7th house and the 11th house, they will get deposited in the 3rd house of subconscious mind, and then the cycle is created further to which the desires flow from the subconscious mind to the conscious state of our mind. So today is the topic of Moksha Trikona. So we will see what are these houses and why these are called as Moksha Trikona. And as I always say, we will not discuss in detail of what is the 4th house or what is the 8th house or what is the 12th house. We will also discuss about them later, specifically when we discuss about houses in general, step by step. But today we will discuss why is the 4th house called Moksha Trikona. Okay, why is the 8th house of Moksha Trikona? Why is the 12th house of Moksha Trikona? And as always, before beginning, I would say God is there with you. Just look to Him and you will find Him. Okay, so any guesses why are 4th, 8th, and 12th houses called the Moksha houses? Well, before talking of why they are called Moksha houses, do we know what is Moksha? I think we have to understand Moksha first. Well, Moksha is very difficult to explain and it's very difficult to understand. Yet it is very simple to explain, and yet it is so simple to understand. Moksha signifies the final state of the soul, the exit of the soul from this world. That is signified by moksha, or rather, liberation, okay, or which is known in the Vedic scriptures, the Vedic canon, as the word mukti. Mukta is freedom. So, mukti means to get freedom, to be free, or one who is free. Okay, so freedom from what? We say that India got independence, freedom from the British in 1947. This country got independence in that year, this country got independence in this year. But what is freedom here? Freedom from what? Freedom from life or what? Yes, it is freedom from materialistic desire because Lord Krishna says in the Gita, which is one of the holy books of the Vedic canon, he says that whatever state of being one remembers at the time of death, that state he shall attain without fail. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. That is the shloka where he says. So, and the Puranas also say that 48 hours before your death, you remember 100 lifetimes which you had spent before, including this very lifetime. And within the 48 hours, there will be replay, or the footage will keep playing in your mind again and again. All the desires from the subconscious mind will pop up, whatever you had done in the last 100 lifetimes. Yes. Now, wherever the footage stops, that is where you will go and take your next body in. And where will the footage stop? The footage of your mind will stop at the place where you have the most attachment. Yes, suppose a man is very attached to his wife when he dies, okay? Then when he is dying, he will think of his wife. And the next life, he will get a body of a woman, or maybe another man, or maybe anybody else, depending on the karma, depending on the destiny. Suppose a woman is very attached to her husband. At the time of death, she remembers him, okay? And then she will get a body like him, okay? Of course, that we'll discuss in detail what happens to who goes where, how, when, why, etc. etc. That is not the focus of Moksha Trikona today, but the agenda is very clear to first understand what is moksha, okay? Moksha basically means liberation. So, what I mean by the word liberation is, if you have any materialistic desire at the time of death, then you have to take another birth. Okay, you have to die and be reborn again to fulfill that desire. Either it is a good desire or a bad desire. Irrespective of that, if it is a materialistic desire, you will have to take birth again, because nature will say, okay, you have this desire, then fulfill it. There's no problem. And depending on the karma, you will take another birth. For example, suppose a person has a desire. Like this famous example is given, that there was a person who had a desire that I should be surrounded in a place with a bag full of money and women around me. Yes. But his karma was not allowing him to go very high in this desire. Okay. By karma, what I mean, karma is, we'll discuss what karma is, what law of karma is in detail later, in another playlist which I have added called Secret of Astrology. But now, as of now, what is karma? Karma is very simple. Karma is those things which you do and which happen to you because of your deeds. For example, you killed somebody in some lifetime, then this life the person will come and kill you. Or maybe he will pay you back in the same coin. Whatever amount of pleasure or pain you give to others, that same amount you get it back from the nature. That's what is the meaning of karma. What you sow shall you reap. Yes, that's the proverb, right? So if you sow a mango tree, a mango seed, a mango plant, you will get mangoes after 5 years. If you sow a cactus, you will get cactus. Yes. So, Lord Krishna says in the Gita, whatever state of mind one is at the time of death, that state he shall attain without fail. Without fail, he says, without fail. So, if you're thinking of your dog, you will become a dog maybe. So, coming back to that example, okay, of desire and karma. Karma is basically the credits of good and bad which you have. So this person had a desire when he was dying that I should be in a place surrounded by women and with a bag of money. Now ideally he should have been in a BMW, or in a Porsche, or in a limousine with many women around him, and he should have had a bag full of millions of dollars, right? But because his karma was not that great, okay, his good credits were not very great to fulfill this desire. But because the desire was there, with the existing number of good credits, the nature fulfilled his desire. Can you say what happened to him? He became a conductor, a bus conductor in a ladies' bus. In India, we have bus conductors. Okay, in foreign we don't have them prominently, but in India we have. What is a bus conductor? In bus there's a driver, and a conductor is the one who gives you tickets and takes money from you for your tickets. Okay, So, and he became a bus conductor in a ladies' bus. Okay. So a conductor always has a bag full of coins, 1 rupee coin, 50 paisa coins, 10 cents, 20 cents, 30, 30 cents, 40 cents. But it's not very much of the money, okay? Very less money he has. So his desire was to get a bag full of money, which he got, and to be surrounded by women. But all these women are sitting in the bus, he can't do anything with them. He can, of course, talk with them, but it won't happen. They will just get in the bus, and when the stop comes, they will get down. Now, had this person's karma been excellent, then he would have got birth in a maybe big family. Yes, then he would have had a limousine with a bag of millions and trillions and billions of dollars, and he would have beautiful women around him with whom he would have enjoyed. Okay, but because his karma is not that great, so within that karmic arrangement, within that karmic cycle, the law of nature try to arrange. Okay, so this is how it happens. This is how you know what the person is going to be. So desire and destiny and karma both go simultaneously. If you don't desire to be in a place, you will not go there. Okay. So prominently, what I am saying is, whatever state you remember at the time of death, that is the state you shall attain without fail. This is what Lord Krishna says in the Gita. And all the other religions also focus that you should remember God at the time of death. Okay, whether it is Allah, that is Jehovah, or it is the biblical tradition where you have Jesus. Okay, or it is the Sikh tradition where you have the holy book Guru Granth Sahib. Okay, so there is a prime focus on the aspect of remembrance of God throughout life, because whatever you are most attached to during your life, that is the thing you will remember at the time of death. That is where the deepest of your attachments are, and those things will come out because you will be stripped from all those. Death means you are dying, you are leaving the this gross body and going to some another place through the subtle body. We will see what is gross body, subtle body later. But whatever attachments you have at the time of death, the most prominent of them, they will come out. Yes. Suppose the police orders today that you have committed a crime and you will be put into jail. Okay. And suppose they drag you from the home. Okay. Then who will you feel most separation from? Maybe it's your children, or maybe it's your wife, or maybe it's your mother, or maybe it's your father. So similarly, when you die, you have been stripped of everything. Yes, so that is the time where your attachments will come out. And moksha here means to get freedom from material desire and to go back to God wherever He is. When you think of Him, because Lord Krishna also says, if somebody remembers me at the time of death, he will come back to me without fail. And once he reaches my abode, he will not come back. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So that's what Lord Krishna says. In Christianity also there is this the concept of higher abodes. Jesus says in the Bible that my father's, when he refers to father, he refers to God. He says, my father's abode has many mansions. Yes. In Quran also there is the concept of Jannat. Of course, we'll discuss in detail later what is the heavens, what is Jannat, what is the different planetary systems as per the Vedic tradition, okay, and how to reconcile the differences among different religions, etc. But the agenda of this talk is to say what is moksha and how are these houses related to moksha. Yes. So basically, here, whatever desire you have in your heart is the fourth house, right? Fourth house is very prominent because it is the sign of Cancer, where Jupiter gets exalted we will see what is exaltation and what is Jupiter later. Jupiter is spirituality, and Cancer is the sign of motherhood, emotions. Okay, so Jupiter, when he comes into emotions, so when we use emotions in spirituality, then we can connect to God on a much deeper level. Okay, otherwise, if you are just doing things superficially, suppose a Muslim is going for his scheduled prayers of namaz and he's just doing it officially just because he has to do, okay, just because his father told him to do. Of course, that is good in one level, there is no harm in doing that way, but he will not be benefited much if he does not feel, if he does not do it with his heart and soul. Yes, Allah will not be very pleased. Of course, he will be pleased if he does namaz, but if he does it with his heart and soul, with love, God will be more pleased. It is true with anybody. Treat God like a person. Suppose a person gives you a gift, okay, if that is very expensive, but he is not giving you with much love, he is just giving you superficially, will you like it? At least I won't, however expensive the gift is. But suppose a person, he has given you a very cheap gift. Cheap means by monetary value, but he has given it with a lot of love, care, and affection. Yes, you will value that more, right? At least I would, and most of the people would. So that shows that whatever, whichever activity we do with love, love is what it is, the fourth house, emotions. Any form of love in this world which involves emotions is the fourth house. So that shows that whenever we are doing any spiritual practice of any religion, any culture, any tradition, we should do it with love, with our heart, with our soul. No, we should be fully into it. Our mind should be into it. Fourth house is the mind. Cancer is the mind. Your mental peace, your mental balance, your mental happiness. Okay, so that is very important. Otherwise, it will be superficial. If you just do it officially, oh, in India there are a lot of systems, cultures, traditions, there are a lot of pujas. Okay, puja is worship of God. Suppose a person, one of the famous, most prominently done pujas in India is Satyanarayan Puja. We'll see who Satyanarayan is later. But suppose there's a Satyanarayan Puja going on and the priest is ringing the bell and chanting the hymns, the mantras, and you are just sitting there and thinking, oh, this puja is so boring. My father is doing this, so I have to sit, oh my god, oh, I don't want to sit here. And then you can't benefit much. Okay. Suppose a Christian is going to the church on Sunday and there are prayers which are going on in the church, and the Christian is thinking, oh, this is so boring, man. I just don't want to sit here. Somehow my mother is pulling me, so I'm coming here. Your heart is not there in it. Your heart is somewhere else. Then, my dear sir, you may be a Christian, you may be a Hindu, or you may be a Muslim, whoever you are, irrespective of that. If your heart is not into it, you will not benefit much. You will have benefit because any spiritual activity has effect, but it will be very nominal, very minimal. Yes. So that is why fourth house is very important. Heart should be there in spirituality. Without it, if you are not doing it by yourself, if you are doing it by force, okay, somebody else is telling you, so you are doing. No, my dear sir, you can't get much. And fourth house is also the house of mother. So ideally, the mother is expected to imbibe values of spirituality, wisdom, love, care, God, higher power to a child in the childhood, because whatever you do in the childhood gets imprinted in your system very strongly. This is what science has also found out after research, that if people have had good childhoods, they have been very stable actually in the later phase of their life. If not, then yes, there can be some issues of trauma or low self-esteem, so and so. We'll discuss about them later, mental diseases, etc. Okay. And also fourth house is the house of home, luxuries, comforts. So that shows that when we take to spirituality, we feel more comfortable than the mundane comforts, because fourth house is the original house of land, property, real estate, cars, comforts, luxuries. All forms of luxury is fourth house. Anything where you feel like home. Okay. So that also means that your home should be a spiritual center, first of all. God should be very prominent in your home. He should not be just another place where you keep God in your home. He should have the most prominent place, because fourth house is a part of the Moksha Trikona. Okay. So when you lead a God-centered spiritual life, at the end you will remember Him, because you have been doing it all your life. It is very easy to remember Him at the end of your life during you die. And then what happens? You will go back to Him, never to take birth again. Yes. So your heart has to be there, and ultimately you have to have as you continue spiritual practices, you will start gaining detachment from the mundane affairs of the fourth house, which is land, property, luxuries, comforts, etc., etc. That is why sages and saints, you will see, they will sleep in the temple floor without any luxury, without any mattress, without any bed. How they are able to sleep? Because they are gaining some higher taste. As I said in the earlier video, Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Param Drishtva Nivartate, when a person practices spirituality for a long time, he obtains higher taste. Yes. Through that he gets the power to curb the lower desires. Okay. And by that he gains higher taste in spirituality, in spiritual activities. He delights in God, reading about God, preaching about God, doing activities related to God, in telling people how great God is, etc., etc. There are different forms of uh, devotional service or spirituality. We will see them later. Okay. But ultimately we have to leave the mundane comforts and go towards God. That is why from the fourth house we have to start. Starting is the fourth house. Okay. And then we have the eighth house. Eighth house is a million other meanings, but here eighth house as a moksha trikona represents transformations in lives. Hidden, it also represents hidden agendas, etc. But here as a moksha trikona, it represents hidden knowledge, also secret knowledge. Okay, secret knowledge, knowledge of who you are, etc. What am I? What should I be doing? All this is seen from the eighth house. Of course, that is more of a ninth house prerogative, but initial phase of the knowledge of spirituality, dark knowledge, because it is the dark house, I mean, it's a very secretive house. So spiritual knowledge is very secret, because Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam, this knowledge which I am giving to you is very secret. The knowledge of spirituality, the wisdom of the scriptures, it's very sacred, it's very secret. Although you may say that everybody knows this, everybody has a Bible or a Gita or a Quran, but how many people actually understand what is there? By understanding, I don't mean understand alphabetically or by English or by Arabic or by Hindi or by Sanskrit, but how many people actually live by it, the principles, yes? And when we go to God consciousness, spirituality, because moksha is all about spirituality, getting lost in God, in the final union ultimately, which is the 12th house. So the 8th house also shows that we might have to undergo a lot of transformations in our life, purification of our karma. 8th house is also past life deeds. Okay. What we carry from the past. 5th house also, and some aspects are also there in the 8th house. 8th house is also the house of death and rebirth. Punarjanam is the 8th house. Okay. And who is the significator of the 8th house? Significator of the 8th house is Saturn. So when we take to any spiritual path, we have to be disciplined. Saturn is discipline, commitment, work ethics, organization, planning, systematically doing things. Okay, executing things, execution. So whenever you read something spiritual, you must execute it. Just by reading, it will not happen. It will happen, but you have to execute it also. Suppose the Christians say that you have to chant the hymns in the rosary beads, for example, then just by listening about it, it will not happen. You have to take the beads and you have to chant. Okay. If the Vedic scriptures say you should chant the Om Namah Shivaya mantra or the Gayatri mantra, Om Bhul Bhuva Swaha, that mantra, there are different mantras, we'll see them later. But just by hearing it will not happen. You have to take the mala, the beads, and you have to start chanting. Then it will happen because 8th house is controlled by Saturn. And when you keep doing spirituality for a long time, you undergo a lot of transformations in life because 8th house is the house of transformation. Yes, it's a beautiful house actually.